Welcome, everyone. This is the very first webinar we're hosting this 2021, and we're thrilled to have you all here. We're opening our webinar season with this amazing speaker, well, these amazing speakers, in plural, sharing their knowledge with all of us today. So we want to thank Best Academy and MXT Diesel for making this possible. Today's guests are Jesus Felipe Florido. He is the national president of MXT Diesel, and Morgan Summers, who belongs to Best Academy team. Now, I bet that many of you already know her because she's been with us before, but if not, let me introduce Katrina Wyant. Katrina.
Hi.
Hi. So Katrina will be talking with us a little bit about building your online class outline with Google. So Katrina, they're all yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Laura, for quite the introduction. It's great to be with all of you today. We hope you're all doing well. And today we have a couple of quick tips about creating your class outline for your online classes, specifically from Google tools, from Google Workplace, also introducing some other concepts and ideas for the EFL area. Yes, because we know we all need it all the time. We need inspiration. We need help. We need to look for new ideas and tips and what's working. And so maybe you've been familiar with what some of least we're going to see today, but maybe not all, or maybe it's time to revisit one of the tools from long ago that you saw I don't know, 6 months ago, and get familiar again with them. So today we are going to have a couple different parts to our or segments to our webinar, and part of it will look at the outline part in general, and another part will specifically go towards learning English as a foreign language and how you can insert some things in there. So one thing I want to clarify before we start is that we're not looking to show you how to have a perfect lesson plan. This should also just accompany or give you some ideas on how to modify what you already are experts on and be able to enjoy some more digital tools in your classroom. So in a little while, if possible, we're going to introduce a very special guest to you, who is running the national board of MXT Diesel. His name is Jesus Felipe Florido, and he's our national president. And if he has a moment in a little bit to connect with us, he'll be able to tell you more about this wonderful association. So if anyone out here is from MXT Diesel, please give a holler in the chat and say what state you're from and put in MXT Diesel 2021 hashtag. But I have been a part of this wonderful association for several years, and they are doing a lot to try and make English training and practical and available and accessible for English teachers in Mexico. They're backed by the TESOL Association that is international, and you can become a member as an English teacher. And also we have lots of local events and at local chapters, as well as our international convention every year. This next year, well, now it's 2021. Hello, how long have we been at home stuck in a pandemic? Forget what year it is. It's not next year, it's this year. Is at Puebla. And we hope, cross fingers, that by then we will all be able to be there together again. So if he has a moment to come back on, we would love to invite him to invite you all to join MXT Diesel. And you can explore more at mxtdiesel.org.mx. So today we're going to start with something that is a little bit off my slides, and I would like you to join me for this website right here called Poll Everywhere. So if you could please, and I will be putting this up on the widescreen in a moment, give me, this is the topic, online teaching. So someone is putting this in the chat box for us right now. And so you can look there and click, but I'm going to put it up and activate it. This is a great website for also doing with your students. And we are going to go on the full screen here. Please put in a note or a word about online teaching. Once you go to this website, pollev.com/KatrinaWyant956, put that in your web browser or on your phone web browser and in your Google Chrome. Or you can also text via phone. And we're going to hold this up for a while, for a few minutes, and come back to it because it will start to form what everyone is thinking here. So please participate and put in pollev.com/KatrinaWyant956. That will allow you to put in what your thoughts are. What are your words? What comes to your mind when you think about online teaching? Oh, they're starting to come in. You're starting to do it. Great job. So you guys are putting in these words right now. You are connecting with each other. And as you can see that the more words you put in, it starts to form a different structure on our word cloud. So I see lots of interesting words: interactive, challenging, lonely, 24/7, resources, tiring. So I'm seeing both inspiring words, but I'm also seeing some difficult words, such as things that would make me think that this is not the easiest thing in the world to do. I don't know. What do you think, Morgan? Is this the easiest thing in the world?
It's not the easiest thing I've ever done, but it's doable.
We're going to leave this up, but look at all the words you guys are beginning to create yourselves here and collaborate with. And look at what other people are putting up and how this viewpoint can be for all of us. So we'll leave this active here. We're going to get out of the screen though and go back to our presentation because I wanted you to have a chance to participate a little bit in the first thought processes of what it means when we talk about teaching online. And then also, oh, hello, we're English teachers, language teachers. There's a lot of components to our online class. So these are some of them that we think about and the things that we need, and we have to pull them all together, right? All the time. So we have favorite parts of this, and sometimes we lean towards our favorite or easier part. But the real difficult thing is when we have to combine everything together to make this smooth plan and then execute the smooth plan, you know, hopefully smooth. So these are some of our components we think about when we are planning for online classes or any class really, like doesn't have to be online, but we wanted to tweak some things. So one thing I want to point out about some of these components is the tools, which is here, the tools we use and the pacing. We're going to kind of focus on those two aspects of things today, because those two things together can produce engagement and productivity in our class. So tools, we want to think about online tools being teacher and student doable. Sometimes for them to be teacher doable, we have to practice. And pacing. An online class we do adjust a little bit for versus in person. As you can tell, and I'm really trying to restrain myself because I'm a fast talker. So I know that a number of you on this webinar are not first language speakers in English. You're probably second and sometimes third. So I am trying to make sure that you can understand what I'm saying, and I am going to speak at a reasonable pace, not a hey girlfriend pace, that will get me like 50% of you lost. And that's not my point. And that's because I really think that as we teach online, we do have to pace some things differently and slow ourselves down for realistic expectations, right? So as we look at these, we see two viewpoints of outlines. So I talk about outlines as like lesson plans. This is kind of the general area here we're talking about, and we'll get into our language area really specifically in a little bit. But in order to get there, I wanted to show how we do need to be meshing these two. So we need an organization for our outline, and usually we call that a lesson plan. But there can be different types of lesson plans and different types of formats. So we're not being picky today about the type of format, or if we're really doing a very pedagogical, super detailed methodological, really, really specific lesson plan, or we're doing something really, really generic. We're not really doing specific lesson planning for this, but we're just showing examples with types of outlines that you can have, so that you can take some of these things and know how to insert them in the context that you teach. Because it would be very different to teach and design activities for preschool or kindergarten than it is for adults online, right? Even the timing is different and the pacing. So here, and it also depends on your language level, right? So we have usually just some sort of outline, which meaning a structure, in order to plug in our plan and objectives to accomplish the thing we're going to execute, right? We're going to have to execute, we're going to have to implement, and in order to usually do a previous planning phase. So into your class outline, we want to insert these elements, right, for languages. And we will always have some sort of goals on our outline, and we'll have to figure out how are we going to insert tools into our goals? How do we make that happen? Here's an example of a quick outline that is more visual. So again, we want to keep our online experiences visual, so hence our slides today. But it's just a really simplified plan, right? So I stuck to 4 parts here. And for just the exercise of today, we're going to look at kind of a lesson plan in 4 parts. I know you could have 15. I know that someone else could only have 2. And it's okay. We're not here to be picky about that. But when we talk about an opening, so we have 4 parts, right? We have an opening, content, activities, and closing. So you can make those really detailed. You can go into really, really specific things you want to do, of course, with all of this. But usually, in general, an opening, you'll want to include your routines as you start your class and as you keep going, right? You'll want to have a connection point with your student and a connection point for your new content coming up. And then when you get to the content, you'll want to have what it says there, right? Digestible information, different sources, depending on, again, your age and your level of English. And as you get to your activities, you'll want to make sure there's some sort of production going on with your language, with your students, so we're advancing. And as we close, we want to make sure that students can really conclude what they have seen today and have a grasp on how to use it to be able to show that. So I'm going to ask Ms. Morgan Summers to accompany us on the next couple of slides to keep talking a little bit about the details of class outlines.
Awesome. So like Kat was showing us, we compiled a lot into those 4 areas of that class outline. But if we really think about it, surely you guys know there's a lot of details that go into planning a class, no matter the subject, no matter the age of students. There are so many aspects to consider. So here are just a few. And these could apply to online classes as well as in-person classes that we as teachers need to consider. And so on the next slide, we can see, again, a more simplified version. Easier to look at, a little less stressful than that list of details. And so the idea here is that, of course, we need to plan, and we want to have a thoughtful organization for our class. Really think through those activities. What are we going to do? What's going to get our students motivating? Select those activities and some cool online tools to maximize the learning experience. And then it's time to actually implement those. So sometimes they go really well. Sometimes we experience unforeseen challenges. And then after class, then it's time to reflect of, okay, how can we improve that? How can I up the student participation and engagement? Or what needs a little tweaking to be a little more clear? And then it's back at it again the next class or the next day to plan again, give that instruction, and then reflect on how it went. So this does not end. That's why it says the teaching continuum. And of course, we know it's not always this clean and cut, simple thing. There's not one right answer, or there might not be one big problem. There can be a lot of little details or a lot of just surprising things that happen in class. So it can be a little messy. So on the next slide, here we're focusing on that organization, because hopefully if we put more thought and more care into that planning process, hopefully that instruction will go more smoothly. So here on the left, we see just a very simple graphic of I can plan out my week, and I'm not just looking at it by day, but also the lesson itself, making sure I have a strong introduction to expose my students to those language structures, to that vocabulary, get them excited for that topic they're going to see. And then we move into the content, all the activities to practice, and then we want to wrap it up. But I also want to draw your attention to the graphic on the right, which says the same words, but now we have LS, RS, W. What is that? Those are our areas of language that we want to develop. Kat mentioned that balanced language approach. So the L is for listening, S for speaking, R for reading, and W for writing. Now, this is just a suggestion. But as we're introducing a new topic, for example, our students will probably have to do more listening to hear those new words or structures in context. And maybe we talk about it. And then once we've listened and talked about it, maybe now we're ready to read a little bit about that topic. Now it's not completely foreign and confusing. No, my teacher's gotten me used to it. And then some activities to get some production of that writing, and maybe some more listening or even some more conversation. And then to close the class, to tie a nice little bow on all of our activities and kind of have a culmination. Maybe we do some reading, or maybe in your class it's different. Maybe you do more written reflection. Again, this is just an example, but it would be important to consider in our planning, not just balancing fun activities with bookwork, but also really what aspects of language we're looking at. So I'm going to pass it back to Kat to give you guys some more ideas on how we can make this work.
Awesome, thank you. So we're going to get into some of our tools, which a ton of you probably know, and we're going to briefly go over them. So this is just a tiny example of maybe something you've seen a long time ago, but need to go back and remember is there, or maybe there's a quick tip here that can help you with some of your planning. So I am going to X out of this because, as you can see, my browser has so many tabs open at the same time, just like my head, right? Just like all of our heads teaching. And this one here, I'm going to go into Google Docs. And I have up here just a template from the plan, but that's where from. Anybody recognize this? Put in the chat. Yes, I'm a doc expert. Because Google Docs has a gallery of templates. And if you click on this blue little icon here, it will take you to the gallery of templates, which has a lot of different pre-made templates for you. So this is where you can open it up if you haven't seen this view before and you've only gone to like Drive or an email to get a Google Doc before. You can open up Google Docs as an app. It's also here in your little 9-dot square. And you can go to this section here called Template Gallery. So the Template Gallery will have a section here called General, which is given to everyone. And it has a lot of titles on it. So if you scroll down in the gallery, you'll find an education section. Here it is, education section, and there's lots of templates for essays, reports, and lesson planning. So this is a template, 3 different templates for lesson plans. And if you click on one, it will generate the plan for you. So this is just taking a moment, but it should pop up here. And you can fill it in with all of your details. There's also a couple of add-ons that can help with this, and I'm just going to show you one that's very simple in case you're constantly sending your lesson plans all the time via email to the same person. There's something that could save you a little bit of time, and it's found on our extensions or add-ons here for Google Docs. And if you click on this button in the menu, it will give you down here this thing that says Get Add-ons, where you can find different extras to help you work with Google Docs better or more efficiently or really specific things. So there is one add-on that can help you, and it's found in here. Lesson Plan Submit. There it is. And I already have it installed, but it's called Lesson Plan Submit. It's right here. And when it installs, you'll see it come up on your add-on button on your menu. And it's right here. And if I want to prepare a submission, I write up my lesson plan, whatever format I'm doing, and I click that button, and it'll bring up this box on my right-hand side to submit my lesson plan. I click daily lesson plan, weekly lesson plan, starting which date, so the person I'm sending it to knows exactly where I'm coming from. And right here, I enter the email I would like to send this lesson plan to. So I don't have to attach it any other way or click other buttons. It'll just send it when it's all done. And I can actually reflect here and get feedback on these sections and hit this button, Submit for Review. So that's one idea that you could use. Another idea comes in a different Google add-on here from Common Curriculum. So if any of you are really high English levels or are following Common Core, or even if you're not, you could use this lesson planner. So this is a Google extension in the Chrome Web Store. And you can add this on and open their website. So this is one I just previously went in really quickly. And I would say like in less than actually a minute and a half, I had this template up on my screen. So it's not that hard at all. But you can create these online planners. You can decide the format. I haven't filled anything in. But it puts up the date for this week. You can modify everything, and you can stick in your title, objectives, your activities, your homework, and you can have it right here. You can make attachments to this, add on to attachments or websites or links that you're going to use in your lesson plan. And this looks really, really cool, right? Because it's all just right up there. So if you're interested in checking that one out for planning, you can also use that at the Chrome Web Store. Again, that's Common Curriculum Lesson Planner. So these are just kind of outline templates at the moment that could save you some time once you get familiar with them. Other ideas that we had up here were, of course, with Google Forms as well. You could even create a form that you submit your lesson plan to. If you're a coordinator or director, you could make all of them available on just a fillable form with the date and the time and the sections for a plan. And that could actually be really handy for review. And also for teachers to fill in. So those are just some ideas, but we're going to move on to our language areas because those are the most interesting. And we want to make sure that we insert a balance of our language areas into our online planning or our outlines. And we have some fun things to look at today. So where do we insert the 4 areas? I want you to quickly write on the chat. Okay, so I have some ideas up here, and maybe you're familiar with some of these anyways with the icons. So if you see the icons, this one, this one, this one, we just saw that one, and this one, maybe you can tell us what they're for, but for the 4 language areas. I put up here one language area associated to the 4 different outline areas. So I have my introduction, my content, my activities, and my conclusion. What do you think? So each one of these with the app or with the add-on or with the extension is assigned a language area: reading, writing, listening, and speaking focus. What do you think I'm going to start out with here with a Jamboard? A reading activity, writing. Oh, and I just said it. Y'all know it anyway. You should. We're going to look at it. Writing, listening, or speaking. Put it in the chat. What do you think the introduction is going to focus on? How about the other one? How many have seen this one? We're going to see it in a second, but Speak It. It's a Chrome extension. Don't get fooled by the name for the language area that needs to be processed or be practiced. What would that one be for? You can put it in the chat. What would Speak It Chrome extension do? And someone who's really, really, really smart is going to like Google everything I'm saying and then put it in the chat, right? Good job. So next one, Read Along. This is an app by Google. We're going to quickly go over these, so don't feel like it's going too fast. What are we going to focus on here, and what are we going to focus on with forms? And I'm going to show you these. So we're going to take a minute and look at a couple of these. So I'm going to exit out of here. Again, keep up the chat. I don't know if you've got it, if you think you're right yet, but we're gonna guess that focus. So I had here in introduction a focus on speaking with my Jamboard. And I have a focus here with Speak It Chrome for listening. And we're going to look at Speak It Chrome in a second. I had here reading, obviously, it says read along, and I had here writing with exit tickets. So this is just an example of that outline, inserting those areas. I only did 4 right here. I didn't like put in my introduction more than 1 language area. I just did 1, that's it. But let's take a look at these and what they can do really quickly. Again, we're not getting anywhere deep, but Jamboard, we're going to see actually in a second, but you should all know that that's one of our Google apps, and it comes as a whiteboard you can stick things up on, and all of your students can get on this collaboratively at the same time. And Google Meet has them integrated, so you can open one as you're on a Google Meet, as you're on a call with your students, you can open one, and it's a sticky note board you can stick things up on. You can also do text. So here I would like to propose that we stick up our favorite animals and we talk about them while we're in our class, so that each kid or each student could go into where you can add an image, find an image, of course from the Google image search, and you can stick up one of their favorite animals and be able to talk about it. So I'm not trying to do anything else. This is focused on speaking practice, and that's how I'm going to introduce my class. So that's just an example focusing on a language area. So we're going to look at the second language area, which is called Speak It Chrome extension. Well, that's the tool we're going to use. And you can find this in the Chrome Web Store. So it's attached to my Chrome. And let me show you what it can do. It shows up here when you install it. So up here, when I click on it, it will open this little box, and it will read to me in a voice once I highlight text anywhere on my using Chrome, okay, on my Chrome tab. So you can configure the language. So yes, of course, it's English. So my students could use this for themselves if they want to hear something read, or you could assign something with it so that they can listen. And so this would be listening practice. But it also comes, if you click on that little box, in a few other languages, which is interesting in case you teach another language or you need to translate something or hear it in another language, sorry. And here you can choose the voice. You can choose how it is going to be reading to you, the pitch and the volume. So if I go on, I have a website open for kids, National Geographic Kids, and if I highlight, you might not be able to hear this over this, but if I highlight a text and I go up to speak it, sorry, I do not need to go up to speak it. I need to right click it now that it's on my Chrome. And it should be right here on your right click that says speak it, and it should read it to you.
On the 18th of February 2021, a robotic rover named Perseverance.
Okay, so I'm not sure if you heard that or if only I heard that, because I've never tried it broadcasting. Did you all hear that? Yes? No? Anyways, it did read it to me. Could you hear that, Morgan?
Just a little bit. So
A
at
little
least
bit.
we believe you that it does read it.
Yeah, good. We proved it at least. Yes. But that is an interesting, again, I'll go back to the Chrome extensions and see where to find it. You find your extensions on the Chrome Web Store. And you look for Speak It. Now, there's other ones that will do this as well. So you can find other things, but I tried to look for very simple and easy tools this time around, okay? The other ones that we look at were for reading, and you can find this on Google Play, and it is a Google app called Read Along. So if you want to check this out, this could be great homework with your students, especially early learners, or young learners. So this is one more for young learners, but it is an actual app. So parents could download it and do homeworks on their app, or you could have it there and read something together. You could see it in class and send homework home. And so this is, or do it flipped classroom as well. This is something you can check out and see how you can incorporate a tool like this in your classroom with Read Along. And the last one we had, and I don't see that I have it up here anymore because I did, but I'll show you, because just like the Google template in Docs here, where you find the template, you can go into Forms. So I might need to go here into my Forms button, and you can find a template for an exit ticket. What's an exit ticket? A lot of people still, that's very, very new term. So if you click on the same place you did in Forms, it's going to bring up the main menu of Forms, and it'll also give you the button for the gallery templates here. And if you go into the template gallery, which I won't right now because this is right here, you'll find this exit ticket as a template. And what I mentioned for writing was that you could go in and generate one of these based off the template. So you could change to be more specific on these questions and send this to your students as a closure of your class. So in order to record their attendance, prove they were in class and paid attention, which is often hard, you could send them this exit ticket to prove that and answer your questions about the class. And you can manage one of these for every single class. I know people who do for even attendance. And kind of an all-in-one, where they have to answer their name and put their email, and you can modify and add and again develop this differently. But one important thing that you learned from class today needs to be there? Or did you feel prepared for today's lesson? So these are example questions, and you can go in and modify to make them your exit ticket, right? So this is when it's, again, in the templates that maybe sometimes we forget to go back to. So the next thing we're going to look at regarding those areas of reading, writing, listening, and speaking is just mention. We're not really going into these ones today because it would just be so long. So we do have other opportunities to take a longer and more extensive look at these with ieducando. So if you would like more information or longer ones, you can definitely contact us at ieducando and ask for the courses that we have. So this would get you more into these apps, or take a closer look into using these apps if you're liking what you're seeing or you're needing more. And this is just suggestions, and they're really simple suggestions. So I didn't want to overwhelm with suggestions. So for some reading suggestions, again, you could take a look for young readers at the reading app from Google that we saw, or you could look at Google Earth. I know that sounds funny because it's definitely a geography tool, but if you haven't opened Google Earth before, you really need to. It is something that is really, really built in a lot of content, and it comes in English. And so if you're looking for some interesting content or even activities and games for your class, you can find them at this lovely wavy blue circle here called Google Earth. It is also in your little area for apps with Google. And so since it comes in English, most of it, not most of it, all of it comes in English, and then most of it has been also updated to several other languages. If you teach another language or you want to see it in another language, it's definitely probably available, at least in the last time I was updated, in like 8 or 10 languages, and they keep building on that. So I could be wrong, could be much more now. But it is really an amazing tool that you can use in your classroom for reading as well. So you could instruct them to go to a specific location or look at a specific place, or they have cultural aspects and articles on there, lots of different things involved to see around the world. And it's really, really, really fun. So you feel like you're traveling when you're at home. So for older and more advanced EFL learners, this is a great, great tool that I would not ignore. Check it out and look at it. For writing, well, we have these definitely that we've already mentioned, but these two in the middle are kind of in the middle between reading and writing, because you can do some of both. With read and write, it has a wide range of things to do, including the recording and the speaking, the text-to-speech, and they have a ton of things to look at. So we're not going in there today just because it's so extensive, but these at least you can jot down right now or Google them up right now and look at them and start messing with them and see if they would bring some great elements to your outline. And then this one I really love too, Book Creator. At Best Academy, we write books and have tons of English books and material. And this is just so cool to see, because you're allowing kids to write a book online, and a digital book right there with their own content, and they can do it collaboratively. Not only can they write the books and create a book online, you can create a book as your class, but you can also read other books that are there. So several are in English, of course. So if you're looking for a short, quick book to read, you might even just go on Book Creator and read someone else's book. So those are really, really cool different tools to use. For the listening and speaking, you could check these out. And some, again, are in the middle. So some you'd work both at the same time, like both listening and speaking at the same time, or one or the other. And then you have a couple here to look for listening. So we saw the Speak app, and we also, or add-on, sorry, extension, Chrome extension. There's also this one to check out that is really cool for posting video assignments. And you can take any video you like. You can take videos off YouTube's, but you create them into an assignment for your students and they get posted. That's an extensive one too. That's really cool. And you can start it out slow and keep building on it. Same with some of these others. So Flipgrid, definitely a great speaking and listening tool where you video message back and forth, and you can, with these types of tools, you create your classroom inside the apps so that you're not just out in the open. You know, they have that range of security feature, and they are Google Classroom compatible, so it makes it easy to integrate. With Screencastify, it's a great tool as well. There's a free version that allows you to record your screen, voice only, or you can have the picture in, or just record yourself, short, quick videos to give to your students, or to have the students do and give back to you as an assignment. And that's also an extension on your Google Chrome. And then these ones over here, we saw the Jamboard. We're going to see it again in a minute as just a continuing activity. And this also one is very interesting for speaking and reading as well. And I was going to, that's also a Google extension that I had open over here called Fluency Tutor. And so and also text help. So if you want to take a look at that, that can really be great for the purpose of speaking and reading activities. And you can have your students record themselves as they are reading aloud. So you can assign them a reading. I had this one open. So you can actually develop assignments such as selecting a text or a website with a text, and clicking on the extension here for Fluency Tutor. And it will automatically open a platform with Fluency Tutor to create a reading assignment. And the tools inside the reading assignment can be really, really great. So we're going to have to open it up here with an account. We already have one open. And it will allow them to record themselves as they're reading and send it back to you. Again, it's integrated with Google Classroom. This is taking a minute, so we're going to go back to our, we're going to X out of that in a second, and we're going to go back to our presentation. So here, we're going to look at one other thing as well, two other things, one by me and one by Morgan, before we go today. But I wanted to mention this part of sequencing. So sometimes with our outlines and with our tools or our digital tools, we really quickly make this Google Doc and participate for 5 minutes, and then it like gets tossed out. So I wanted to talk about, and sometimes as teachers, we spend like an hour of prep for that doc, and then it gets tossed out after 10 minutes of collaboration, and then you're like, well, then what else? So I just wanted to talk a little bit about either sequencing or recycling your work so that you're not double working. So if I had a Jamboard I was using on Tuesday, and my objective, so I have my objective under here, and notice that the objective is the same for both. I am going to, maybe on Tuesday with a Jamboard, have them create like a brainstorm session of their favorite animals, and I only want them to speak about it. So here I am highlighting speaking, right, as my feature. And I want them to use adjectives in the correct order. So that's my objective, okay? That's my language objective, and I want them to be able to speak with that. And we're gonna make like that Jamboard you saw, we're gonna go back to it in a minute. But I don't have to toss it out after that one use. I could continue that Jamboard, this is just an idea, and then develop more uses of it. And then this time, I'm still stuck on my same objective, because remember, we don't toss objectives out after one try. We definitely have to practice them for them to be fluid. So another practice time, so say I bring this Jamboard back on Thursday with my students, and this time I want them to have an individual slide, and I want them to write the sentences. So my focus is writing. So just as that example to show you that we had before with the open Jamboard, I could have all my students on here, and they could be posting their favorite animals. And then the next time, this maybe is what I want for my outcome in English, where I see clear sentences and adjectives. I see They posted now their name and they have their animal. And so this can be done at any age. And believe me, adults can have fun with this too, not just kids. And you can focus your language areas in sequencing, right, for those things. So I want you to have more ideas for, don't just toss out that prep work you did on an app that took you a while. You might be able to carry that through to several objectives or different language ability areas for your students, and that's less prep for you. So this is Morgan to end it today, and then we'll take some Q&A. But Morgan, can you tell them this is another activity that you can do online or in person, and we've molded it for online, but called choice boards. We did a workshop on this a while ago at Best Academy, and I think it's just such a great idea to put in our classroom. So Morgan, do you want to take this over?
Absolutely. I would love to share about choice boards. They have definitely changed online teaching for me, or even working in hybrid settings. And it's a great way to easily utilize several tools. So with a choice board, also known as a choice menu, or just options of activities. So on the next slide, you'll actually see an example of a choice board or choice menu. Okay, so again, this is just an example of maybe how it would look. If you are super into these Google extensions, if you really want to give them a go, this is a great way to try. So the idea with this choice menu, it says there, class activities. So this is happening during my class time, and I've left the instructions to choose one activity from each of the columns. So they're going to choose one appetizer, one main dish, and one dessert, because every good meal has a dessert. We can't skip out on that. And so they're only required to choose one from each column. That means I'm allowing some student choice, which I don't know about you guys, but with online teaching, many times I have been experiencing low student motivation, or maybe some days, maybe our teacher motivation is also low. So implementing some new, fresh ideas and giving students the autonomy or option to choose can be very helpful. So just for example, under my appetizers, I'm going to have activities that are probably more related to listening or reading, because this is going to serve as an introduction to the topic, or to get students ready, kind of give them some information. So just as ideas, we could do that through a Google Slides presentation. Or maybe I use that Screencastify tool that Katrina has mentioned. I can record a video or even record myself going through some slides. Or Google Earth, like Kat mentioned, I have to echo that. It is such a fun tool to use. And there's so many pre-made trips that your students can look at and follow to not only be able to see places, but also read about them. So that could just serve as an introduction. And I kind of left them a little vague here. So maybe you as a teacher could imagine what topic you're working with. Maybe that's to set the setting for a reading, or maybe that's to give some context for a science lesson. It could be for anything. Then we're getting to the meat, the main dish, the content of our lesson. So here, now I'm going to require a little more than just a listening activity. Now maybe I'm going to have my students read, or do a little bit of writing, or even answer some questions. So maybe I have them read a text with that read along extension to have them listen, or even to have them record themselves reading so I can see how they're doing. Or maybe I pull up a Jamboard and the students are able to collaborate on that Jamboard. Maybe they don't have to create a whole slide, but maybe I leave a question or prompt and they just add a little text or a little sticky note on there. Or maybe I want them to have some more listening, but a little more interactive. So that Ed puzzle would be a good option, where students can watch a video but it is customized by the teacher so that the students can have interactive questions or activities to respond throughout that video. So it's not just information overload, but that they are working on that main content and really having that learning experience. And then last, the best part, the dessert, or kind of the closing activity. Maybe more focused on reflection, maybe more focused on writing. Now that students have listened and heard and written about a topic, they can produce some more. So again, there are some more ideas of how you could incorporate even more Google tools. But if that is overwhelming, of course, you don't have to do them all. But just so you know, Flipgrid is also a great tool for students to be able to record themselves or even respond to each other. So if live sessions are not an option for you, or maybe you're afraid that students aren't getting that interaction in class, Flipgrid could be a great choice. Or the exit ticket, such a simple, quick tool. Could be 1 question, 2 questions, or more. And then even a Padlet to offer more visual expression. But whether I'm speaking, whether I'm reading and writing with the Google form, or creating something visual on Padlet, the students are allowed to show what they know, which is what we want. So here are just a few ideas of how a choice board could look. But this is just the beginning. The possibilities are endless.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So yes, again, this can be inserted into your outline as part of your activities, where you would have the students choose their activity or virtual digital activity, Google tool activity. And thank you so much, Morgan, for your examples today and for participating with us and giving us some great extra ideas of how we can keep our EFL class going. Also, we're thankful for our sponsors today at ieducando, especially for organizing this event. Remember, they have these sessions available and in depth for your schools and your school staff on a sequenced timeline, and as well as different types of sessions or more in depth if you're looking for more experience with these apps or more. And MXT Diesel, the largest association of English teachers in Latin America, and it has been a wonderful, wonderful privilege to be involved with that association and that they could sponsor our event today. So if you're interested in becoming a MXT Diesel teacher, all you need to be is an English teacher. You can go to mxtdiesel.org.mx and register for your membership and get access to lots of training opportunities. So thank you also to Best Academy. We're here to serve you as well with English products and services, and Google for Education for being a part of our webinar today. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen in a minute and hand this back to Laura and Erica at ieducando for any questions that came up during our session.
Thank you very, very much, girls. We really enjoyed it. I mean, I haven't taught an English class in over, I don't know, 7 or 8 years, I think, and I miss it so much. Aww. And just by listening to you and how passionate you are about this, it makes me feel like I should go back to teaching. And well, I mean, we're having great feedback on the chat. Everyone, I think, has loved this session. There were some questions that we were able to answer pretty quickly, thanks to Morgan. But, well, they were just looking for some additional add-ons for voice messages. And people are asking where can they find more webinars. Well, remember that after this live session that will end in about 5 minutes or less, you can always subscribe to our channel and be the coolest teacher in the land. That's how Erica from marketing has sent out that message. And you can always rewatch this session as many times as you want. You can pause it, you can take notes, you can do many, many things. And we're always working towards helping you all. And well, this was the first session of a series of webinars that we are planning on hosting in the following weeks and months. And as Katrina was saying previously, if you would like to broaden your PD, your professional development experiences, you can always write to us, drop us a line, and we're planning on working and expanding our collaboration with Best Academy so they can train you in many things. I mean, you already know these two experts, and I bet you would like to take more sessions with them. So please feel free to contact us, and we'll get back to you with our calendar, our PD calendar, so you can join us. So if there are any other questions to answer, I don't know, but you can always write to us at mexico@ieducando.com. And Catherine says she would love to become a Google educator. Oh, okay. Well, we have here Katrina, who is a Google trainer and innovator. I am just a trainer, but she's a little bit more expert in everything than me.
No. Oh, no. Google is so big. How can we be a Google expert? I don't even know how we can say that, but we try. And it is wonderful to be able to explore these tools and get to a point where you can get yourself certified. So ieducando has wonderful boot camps for that and wonderful sessions that they pose. And we also do help out with that. So please feel free to contact us at ieducando, and we can do sessions in English and Spanish as well. So if you want your English staff, or that's a need. At Best Academy, we often offer just a startup course. It's like a quick basic course as well that sometimes is there. And ieducando is the expert and partner company for those boot camps to get certified. So you can definitely find that available. And I don't know, Laura, are you going to have a boot camp anytime soon?
Yes. We're starting boot camps for Google Educator Level 1 and 2 by the mid of March. If I am not mistaken, probably we'll be starting on March the 18th or so. So you can always write to us. Yes. And we'll start sending invitations next week.
That is wonderful. So I would say everyone keep your eyes, follow everybody on the accounts so that you can see those pop up real quick, or email ieducando.
Yes, and subscribe to this channel and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And March 18th, we're starting with new boot camps. So thank you very much, Katrina and Morgan, for joining us today. This was amazing, and hopefully we'll see you again pretty soon.
Yes, would be great. Thank you so much, Laura.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Have a great day.